Hey guys, welcome back to Bassin' with Brandon. In the month of April here, I made a few trips and was able to work my way from the south end of the lake all the way up to San Miguel. The wind was cooperating, so I spent a lot of time out on the main lake, graphing the ledges and points, heading out toward the main river channel out there. Found several schools of fish along the way and marked some really good stuff that'll probably come into play more into the summer. So the first day I showed up and I launched in Cypress Bend. I did a little graphing around the flats that come out in front of the park right there. Then I made my way across into the mouth of Lowe's Creek, and I graphed around those points and did a little fishing out there. Worked my way up into the pocket, and as I'm going in, I noticed the most productive waters were right in the mouth of the pockets for the first maybe 100 yards or so, and toward the back of those, everything kind of died out. So after spending a little time in Lowe's Creek there and picking up a few fish, I moved across to the mouth of Negreet right here, and I went up into this first arm where Turtle Beach launch is, and it was the same story. Like along the bank there, it was the first 150 yards into that pocket that was the most productive. So after picking up a few fish in the Negreet there, I jumped back across and started on the south end of Lowe's Creek. I was graphing all the ridges and ledges going out toward the main river channel there. I made my way on down all the way to Oil Well branch here, and I worked my way in and fished some of the waters down into that branch. Came out of there and I did some more graphing out around the north end of Indian Mounds, and then picked one of those pockets and worked up in there a little bit. It was the same story though. In each one of those pockets, the mouth of it into about 100 yards or so was the most productive. So the next day I came back and I moved up the lake up into San Miguel. I launched at 12:15, made a little run right across to North Toledo Bend State Park. There was some weather coming in, so I stayed shallow and fished around the state park in that flat out there. I was throwing a jig, flipping it in bushes and swimming it through the bushes and what little grass was around right there. I was able to pick up a couple of keepers there before the rain came in. So after getting a few keepers, weather came in and had to get out of there for a few hours while that blew through. Once the weather passed, I came back and started in the same place. Mixed a chatterbait in right here and was lucky enough to hook up with this one here. So after fishing around that flat, I worked my way back out around this main big island out here. I checked out those longer ridges and points coming out toward that creek channel. I jumped across to the main point in between San Miguel and Lanan. In all those pockets, it was same deal. Pretty much the first 100-yard stretch or so going into those pockets was the most productive water. South Toledo Bend State Park. This was my first time launching here, so that was a good experience. I started off right away, checked out around those points coming out, those islands, and some long tapering points coming out right there. Moved across to the Texas side, graphed the mouth of these creeks and all the little ridges coming out in between those islands. On the ends of those ridges, I was able to find a few small schools of fish out there. So I continued on graphing mostly on the main lake up in the mouth of Mill Creek here. Checked out some ridges there. I moved on up right outside of Hickory Ridge. This is just south of 6 Mile. Checked out those flats and ridges there. I made my way to the north side of Housing, right outside of White Oak. And I was doing the same deal, checking ledges and those ridges coming out to the main river channel. This little school of fish right here, they were stacked up a little higher, and I thought they may have been crappie, so I couldn't get them to bite on anything else, and I dropped a little crappie jig down there, and I fooled this little Kentucky into biting, and then I started throwing a little tail spinner, and I was able to pick up some more fish like that. All right, so the next time I got out, I picked up where I left off over here in White Oak. I finished graphing out that area. I worked my way on up into Indian Mounds. All the schools I was finding was deeper than I had really thought I would. They were mostly in between 22 and around 34 foot. The most productive baits I found was that little tail spinner. It caught the most fish, then a jig and Carolina rig. Okay guys, those are the trips I got in on Toledo Bend in the month of April. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, I'll be putting out 2 more videos that I got in the early part of May here before I head back to work. So be looking out for those. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.